Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 1993 Hellenic Times Humanitarian of the Year, Mr. Bob Costas.
Costas.
There we go.
Please. Yeah.
The lovely keepsake is in 2 pieces. I was not forewarned. Showing the reflexes of my youth, a nasty mishap was narrowly averted.
Please. Give it.
We have another surprise for you. I, David M. Dinkins, Mayor of the City of New York, hereby present this award to Bob Costas, a native New Yorker and member of the Greek-American community. His knowledgeable, witty, and down-to-earth coverage of Major League sports and of the Olympic Games, and his in-depth interviews with national and international people of prominence have added to our enjoyment and knowledge and inspired young men and women to work toward attaining their own career goals. 21st day of May, 1993.
More here.
Another photo op.
First time.
Okay, thank you.
No matter what you give me, I'm still not going to sing. John Gotti has a better chance of singing than I do. I just want to make sure that our friend here has enough pictures. He's going for a total of 6,000 to 7,000 for tonight. Am I interrupting? No. You fellas just arrange yourselves nicely with a keepsake shot. By the way, has anyone here not met this gentleman and had his or her picture taken by this gentleman? And if that's the case, please come forward now and get it over with. Well, I found out, as Nick indicated, that a tremendous amount of attention is focused upon the host of the Olympic Games. What's the matter with you? Can't you see? The man is trying to document the evening. Well, anyway, so I'm hosting the Olympic Games, and in fact, received many telegrams and faxes and letters of appreciation from members of the Greek community. I was very touched by that. A lot of them reached me in Barcelona, and others were waiting at NBC when I returned home. But there is a flip side to every story. During the opening ceremonies, some 172, as I recall it, roughly in that vicinity, 172 nations or national entities marched into the Olympic Stadium in Barcelona. Our coverage of the opening ceremonies lasted some 3.5 hours. But we figured it out, and in order to compress it into 3.5 hours and get all the commercials in, it wouldn't be possible to show all 172 nations. And so we made a decision based upon the size of the delegations and what we figured were the countries that people back in the United States would be most interested in seeing, which were the most colorful delegations, which represented the largest and most powerful countries, which had the most citizens of that respective ethnic origin watching back in the United States, whatever the factors may have been. And about 25 or 30 of the delegations never got on television in the United States. One of those was Turkey. Now, the next morning, the faxes and the telegrams arrived, and they're all directed not to the president of NBC Sports or the president of General Electric, but to the Greek Bob Costas. Some of them threatened not only bodily harm, but bodily harm in the most inventive of ways. As these correspondents were convinced that I was producer, director, and commentator of the coverage, and had decided out of some nationalistic animus to exclude Turkey from the Parade of Nations. And in fact, a Turkish-American newspaper inveighed against this horrible injustice, threatening to boycott NBC, boycott all the sponsors, and hang me in effigy at 30 Rockefeller Plaza for this terrible misdeed. So I wrote them back a letter of explanation and how I wasn't even aware of whether Turkey would or wouldn't be in it, and how I had so many other things on my mind, and how I would never exert such influence, and in fact didn't have such influence, and made a copy of that letter, sent it off to the publication, and then also sent it to the 75 to 80 people who wrote me personal letters. I don't know if their feelings were assuaged, but you learn that at least a tiny fraction of those out there will always have their own perspective. But that was more than counterbalanced by the tremendous outpouring of affection. Whether I deserved it or not, I certainly was touched by it and gratified by it, that I received from Greek Americans. And that was one of the most memorable aspects of the coverage of the Olympic Games for me. Obviously, as a Greek American, I had a connection to the Olympic Games that was just a little bit more personal than someone else who might have filled the role of host, since obviously there is that ethnic connection. And it made it all more enjoyable for me to go back into the history books and learn about the ancient Olympic Games and learn about what my forefathers and yours had been part of creating. And then there was Greek success at the Olympic Games in the hurdles. When Gail Devers of the United States fell, the only upside of it was that a Greek woman took a gold medal in track and field for the first time in many Olympiads, and we felt a special pride in that.